Thank you. Can you all hear me? Yes. All right. In the back row over there? Yes. Super. Again, thank you for coming today for this quick lecture. Normally this lecture takes up about 10 hours of lecturing. It takes 5 lectures, each one about 2 hours. Today we're going to summarize this into about 30 minutes. And then we'll give you some time to ask questions. The first thing I'd like to tell you is I've been doing this. I've been in medicine for 38 years. The purpose of me going to medical school was to become a teacher. So what I'm doing now is exactly the purpose of my life. And I want to thank you for helping me teach. I have studied medicine, Western medicine. I've also studied Eastern medicine. I became board certified in naturopathic medicine, and eventually I did the clinical nutrition, which is what I do today. And if there's one thing I want you to learn today, and learn and apply actually, it would be the fact that the one thing nutritionally that you can do to add years to your life, quality years, not just years, healthy years, is to eat more vegetables. This is the bottom line. You see, so what you're doing now is wonderful. Participating in this program is actually wonderful. And if any one of my patients can just learn this one simple message, they may be adding up to 14 years to their life expectancy. Quality years, not just extending their lives. A study that was published back in 2009 at the Archives of Internal Medicine, which is published by the American Medical Association, indicated that if you were to do 4 things and not do them well, just do them to some degree, you would extend your life by 14 years. And these 4 things are: 1, not to smoke. If you are a smoker, you should really quit. Number 2, to add more vegetables to your diet. About 4 or 5 or 6 cups of vegetables added to your diet on a daily basis. To exercise for about 21 minutes per day, times 7, that's 150 minutes per week, which is really not a much. You can actually exercise every other day if you wanted to, as long as the total is 150 minutes. And it doesn't have to be hardcore exercise. It could be walking, but at a good pace. And number 4 is to have a waist. Now, mind you that these studies are done in the United States, and they're mainly done on white Americans or European Americans. And based on that, we know that your waist needs to be less than 38 if you're a male and less than 34 if you are a female. If we translate this to people who come from Asia, we should reduce that by 4 inches. So 34 for men and 30 for women. If you can maintain that or better, then you're really adding years to your life. What this does, what this kind of behavior does, it reduces inflammation in your system. Inflammation happens immediately after eating something that's not healthy, and we'll cover what that means, what a healthy meal is, what a healthy food is in a moment. But the body develops inflammation immediately after the consumption of something that is not healthy. Inflammation is something that underlines the risks for diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, high cholesterol, and so forth. It is more dangerous than all of these combined. And it happens to every single human being, no matter what your age is or your condition of health and so forth. So it is very serious. It can reduce the quality of your life. Now, what are these elements or ingredients that cause a food item to be unhealthy? Anything chemicalized, so anything that's manufactured by man, and anything that contains sugar, salt, and oil. You know? So should we stop having sugar, salt, and oil? No. The only way for us to have sugar, salt, and oil and continue to eat out and eat things that may come out of a box or a container that may contain preservatives or any chemicals is to eat vegetables at the same time. Vegetables counteract all of these. So by definition, a healthy meal contains enough vegetables to counteract the inflammatory effects of every other item in that meal, be it sugar, salt, oil, fat, animal products, or anything else. An ideal meal would constitute a well-balanced meal whereby the amount of vegetables is high enough in that meal to counteract everything else. So for us to really get into some depth into that, what kind of vegetables, how much vegetables, should I include vegetables in my recipes, which may modify the flavor of the recipe, the outcome of it, and so forth, or not? In fact, the easiest thing to do is to determine what vegetables you love and start including those in everything that you're eating. Have them as snacks. Have them probably exclusively as snacks, and add them to what you normally would eat. You don't have to modify anything that you do like. You don't have to do that. Eat it the way it is, but don't eat too much of it, because it's going to be very hard to include on top of it enough vegetables to counteract the inflammatory effect of that meal. So if you go to a restaurant, for example, try to eat less of what you like. Don't stop eating what you like, because you need to adapt into a system that you can sustain for the rest of your life. And you cannot build something like this on the concept of, I'm not going to eat this, although I love it, and I'm not going to eat that, although I love it. It doesn't work. You just need to continue to eat what you love, but you need to eat less of it, and you need to learn how to incorporate vegetables in that meal, because after every meal, inflammation occurs. So you cannot have a meal that's really bad, full of sugar and chemicals and salt and fat, and then have some vegetables later. It doesn't work that way. You have to counteract that effect immediately, because it does create a problem immediately. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, for you to be able to determine how much vegetables you have to have and what vegetables you have to eat and so forth, we have the concept of moisture index to explain to you. Moisture index means the amount of water in any given food as a percentage of weight. For example, if you take a cucumber is about 96% water. So when you eat a cucumber, it's almost like drinking water. It's very close. When you eat a piece of bread, for example, bread is about 32% water. So if you eat a piece of cucumber and a piece of bread of equal weight, then that combined meal of cucumber and bread will be around, what would you say? 60? Yeah, about 60, 65 maybe, 70, which is borderline okay. If you were to use this example in building your real meal, because you're not going to be eating cucumber and bread, when you build your real meal, you need to know those ingredients that make up the meal and how they translate into moisture index as a combined meal. At the very top of this scale, you have liquids like broth and soup and vegetable juice and vegetables and fruit juice mixed. You have different vegetables that are known to be very high in water content, like cucumber. So those represented here in those four layers, the top layers, are great as snacks. So if you get into the habit of having broth, that could be made really into something that's very tasty. You can add lemon juice to it, and you can add herbs and spices to it and so forth. Between meals, that's a great idea. If you want to start your day with some vegetables and fruits mixed together into a blend, that's a wonderful idea. You start by diminishing the existing level of inflammation in your body the moment you wake up in the morning by having those vegetables and fruits. And then you can have your balanced breakfast and then balanced lunch and balanced dinner. You see, this is a quick way to incorporate vegetables. Unless you like vegetables so much and you want to have maybe something like grilled vegetables or vegetable soups or steamed vegetables for breakfast, in addition to other things that you like to have for breakfast, then that would be another option. Next, from here, notice that these four, the upper four, have a moisture index of 95 plus. So they're almost entirely water. Below that, we have moisture index of 90 plus, where we really have vegetables, raw vegetables and fruits making up salads, vegetable soups, stews, and so on. So every time you eat something that is known to have a moisture index of 5 and 10 and 20 and 25 and 30 and 35, and by the way, this is going to be available to you so you can actually look at those foods and learn what foods that you're eating that qualify as the bottom of the scale and what you need to do in terms of incorporating more vegetables with these foods if you insist on having them because you like to have them. So you'll get an idea. If you go back and learn this on your own later, you will know exactly what to do with every single meal that you're eating. And we keep going down the list. What you have in front of you is those listed and the best options that you have to go for. If you like chicken, it lists the best options of chicken. If you like seafood, it tells you what the best options of seafood to eat. This doesn't mean that you eat those foods exclusively. It means that these are the best choices that are non-vegetable choices. And then you add to that the vegetable choices that you like, and you have a balanced meal. So a good definition of a balanced meal is a meal that contains the right amount of vegetables to counteract the inflammatory effect of the non-vegetable items on that plate. You see? So I want you to develop this as a skill so that every time you eat, you think about this. And you go, okay, I'm having some pasta and some maybe chicken or something like that because I love it that way. Now, how much vegetable should I be having with this? And then make sure you get the vegetables, okay? We're going to run through the rest of the slides to complete that picture for you. At the end of this lecture, we're going to give you a few minutes to ask questions. So anything that's incomplete during the lecture that you would like to ask more questions about, we'll give you about 5 minutes or maybe more to ask about 3 questions. And at the end of the lecture, I'm going to stay here for up to a half hour. So any of you who has additional questions is welcome to stay and ask those questions. Let's go through the slides quickly. These are the slides that are printed for you. So we basically give you those options. I'm going to go through those fairly quickly. Miscellaneous options. Higher MI seafood, which is seafood that's known to have more water content naturally in them, which is better for you. It would be these 3 options. Roots. Notice that these are graded as grade A plus A, B plus B, and so on. So let's go through that quickly. You have all of those printed, so you can take a look at those. Okay. Now, in addition to this understanding that you just gained, which I hope you'll employ in your day-to-day life when you make your choices, no matter how old you are, it doesn't matter. You can be extremely healthy, but you are, every time you eat things that are not balanced this way with vegetables, you are creating inflammation. What inflammation does, it turns on the genes that you have. So if you have a condition, a health condition that runs in the family, it is likely to turn on early on in your life. This is why it's more serious than very serious conditions like diabetes and cardiovascular disease and so on and so forth. You see? So it really concerns everybody who has a body, if that makes sense. Okay. The first challenge to this application of this concept is your own kitchen. There are things that you need to do in your own kitchen to make your kitchen more friendly for the concept we just covered. So let's take a look at this. Okay. I'd love you to walk through your kitchen and read the labels on everything that's in a box or a container and determine whether or not that particular item should be in your kitchen. Take a look at the number of servings and then take a look at the amount of calories and determine, based on whatever concept that you have on calories, how many calories you should have or not have. Everybody thinks that they have to limit their intake to a certain number of calories. So take a look at this and determine how many calories this thing have or this thing has. Then take a look at fat and sodium and go to the right of the label. If any of those percentages is over 5%, ditch that food. Don't eat it. Okay? Then go further down. If the amount of fiber is less than 20%, don't eat that food. You see, it's likely to create inflammation. And if the vitamins and minerals at the bottom have each one has a percentage next to it, is less than 20%, if any one of those is less than 20%, don't eat it. It's too manufactured, too stripped of the nutrients that you need to reduce inflammation. So that's one thing that you can do quickly. There are 7 things that you should not have in anything that you eat, because these things are really bad for you. Again, we don't have to go through those, but you can because you have access to this presentation. So any of those ingredients, if it's in anything that's in your kitchen, throw it away. Or give it to somebody that you really hate. Anything in cans, you're better off if you throw it away, because cans legally contain a lining that is very toxic, that can cause cancer. Anything that's stored in plastic, try to not use it or throw it away. You see? Don't use plastic in microwaves, even if it says microwave safe, because it's not. The standards that we have today as to determine whether it's safe or not are not good standards. If you have anything like this in your pantry, throw the pantry away. Because none of these will qualify based on what we just learned. If you have some of these items that you would love to keep because someone else used them or something, then make sure that these don't stay in the pantry. Now, what do you do after recognizing that the pantry is empty now? You reorganize it. And how do you reorganize it? There's a way to do it very quickly. We figured this out over the last 23 years that we've been working on that particular subject. This is the easiest way to reorganize your pantry so that you're not creating inflammation in your body on a daily basis. Also, this is available to you, so you can look at it later. What do you restock your pantry with? So you have the basic needs for healthy meals. These are the items that you need to have in your pantry. So look at it, choose the ones that make sense to you, that you normally would eat, and start stocking these in your pantry. Strategy number 2, sugary drinks. Sugary drinks are not really healthy because they cause inflammation. For no other reason. This is exactly what it is. Let's take a look at what they do normally. A small 8-ounce cup, very small, nobody drinks that small, gives you 120 calories. At the end of the year, it gives you about 47 pounds that you have to work on. You see? So that's not a good thing. There are choices of sweet drinks that are not healthy, but they're not obviously not healthy. So I want to run through those quickly. Fresh squeezed juice, because this is the go-to choice if you're trying to be healthy. The reason why it's not healthy is because it contains a lot of sugar. Eating the fruit that this came from is actually very healthy. And when you create a blend of vegetables and fruit juices, first, don't use the juice, use the whole thing and blend it. And make sure that the majority of what's in that blender is the vegetables. This is not healthy for the same reason. This is not healthy. Yep. A lot of people think this is very healthy. It has ingredients in it that are very healthy, which are minerals. Minerals are very healthy. They help reduce inflammation in the body. But this contains a lot of sugar. Plain sugar that causes your blood sugar level to go up and then to go down. And anything that forces your blood sugar level to go up and down quickly causes inflammation. Okay? These are, obviously, they are not healthy. Not just for the sugar, for the caffeine also. Very high amounts of caffeine. These should not be called sports drinks because of the sugar content. Yogurt, you know. So remember that anything that's not healthy does not mean that you can't have it. It means every time you want to have it, you have to figure out how to include vegetables with it, right before it, after it, quickly after it, so they go into the stomach sort of at the same time. They get processed at the same time. Okay? This is true for every single item, food item that you like to eat. There's a restaurant that you love to eat at because they have a couple of items that you enjoy. Continue to go there and continue to eat that food. Try to eat less of it if you can, but always include vegetables. We'll come into that in a second. Okay? Alternative milks, same problem. Minute Maid lemonade, which is an option that is available at many restaurants. Look, 67 grams of sugar. Okay? Vitamin, water, 30 grams. I know. Look. 63 grams. Okay? So what do we do about sugary drinks? We drink water. What if I hate water? Well, there are options. You can have some herbal tea. And if you're not interested in tea, in any particular type of tea, you have many different options for herbal tea. And herbal tea can actually taste really good. But if you want to have a soda, Zevia is a great soda. It doesn't have any sugar in it, but it tastes just like soda. This is another one. Another one. Or you can buy these, put them in your purse or your pocket, and when you go to restaurants, just add them to cold water and or hot water, and you have a drink that really, really tastes good. This is just another brand. Same thing. This, for example, you just add it to hot water and you have hot tea, or cold water and you have iced tea. Very delicious. 0 calories, 0 sugar. And they don't have artificial sugar or synthetic sugars or sweeteners. They have natural stevia leaf. Stevia is a green leaf that grows on trees or shrubs. When it comes to alcohol, let's run through this. Every time you drink, you are likely to eat more because alcohol can numb the nervous system that extends from the stomach to the brain. Okay? 200 calories of extra food. On the hunger, this is the hunger scale. Instead of stopping when you're satisfied, you're likely to stop when you're over full, simply because you're drinking some alcohol. You also are likely to include or to add 200 calories from the alcohol itself. For most people, it's more like 500 calories. These are examples of drinks that are very popular. Pina colada, 590 calories. It's very inflammatory. So if you were to have this, you probably should have nothing but vegetables for dinner. You know? Just to compensate for the damage that this creates. And you tend to order foods that are known to create more inflammation. Pairing beer with pizza is very known. Wine with steak is very well known. So you add more foods that have more fat. So what do? Well, we try to find something that's at least less damaging. This one is 500 calories. It's damaging. When I say calories, I'm not talking about calories necessarily. I'm talking about what causes that caloric number to be high, which is sugar normally. And that is inflammatory. So when I say 500 calories, I'm talking about a lot of sugar. 369. This one is actually reasonable. 200 calories is reasonable. But that translates to 32 grams of sugar, 8 teaspoons of sugar. It's a lot. It's a lot. Beer, up to 400. Wine. I mean, if you are to choose wine, I would choose this. Lambrusco from Italy. It tastes really good. And it's available. If you were to use white wine, Pinot Grigio is great. So go for a small amount. If you can. If you can. These are recipes that you can make at home, or you can order at any bar. You can tell them how to mix it for you, which makes these drinks much healthier, which means less damaging, less because they create less inflammation. Okay, so I created those recipes for you. What do we do at Starbucks? So you can actually have the best intentions and really add vegetables to everything you're eating, and you're really into this, and you find ways to incorporate vegetables in so many ways, like juicing the vegetables, blending the vegetables, steaming the vegetables, making soup out of vegetables, making stews. You can become the master of vegetables and still not know these little things about how to fix your kitchen and pantry, not know what to do at Starbucks, not know what to do when you go out to eat when it comes to the consumption of alcohol and so forth, you see? These little things can get you off track without you noticing. Look at this, the white hot chocolate, 590 calories. From sugar mainly, but it does have saturated fats, which can cause inflammation. Let's run through those. All of those are not good. They're good tasting, very good tasting, but they cause inflammation. You see? Now, what do we do at Starbucks then? If I go there for social reasons. Excellent. Excellent. That's an option. But if you'd like to have some coffee and some flavor and some steamed milk and things like that, always go for a 12-ouncer, not the 16 or bigger. Go for 2% milk, and don't add whipped cream. Whipped cream is very inflammatory. Now, what does that look like? This is what it looks like. This is the composition of latte, if you get a medium one, you see. And cappuccino. These are safe options. Latte, cappuccino. Before they created the fancy names and the fancy mixes that cause inflammation and cause addiction. Inflammatory food causes addiction. And restaurants know that. The food industry really, really knows that. You see? So it's your life, it's your quality of health, and it's your choice. So these were the only options that were known before. Okay? When it comes to eating at restaurants, I'm going to tell you what you should do. You order the one that you like. You order the food that you like. Divide it in half. Get a takeaway box and put half of it in that box and then start eating. If you have somebody else eating with you, share one with them. And instead of going for appetizers, go for side dishes. Let me show you. This would be an appetizer. This is something that you can learn about when you see the whole slide. You can make those actually, it takes about 5 minutes to make these, and you can make enough for a whole month. Order something like this. Never think that this is free when you go to the Olive Garden. Look, if you add this to that, it's actually a disaster of inflammation. 500 for just those. So that's what I was telling you about. Now, what side dishes look like? Something like that. Just order these and have them as appetizers. If the restaurant doesn't do that, go for grilled vegetables, steamed vegetables, or something like this. I also included a whole list of foods that you can have at a fast food joint and why you should make those choices and how you can modify these. Let me just show you something quickly. If you analyze just the chicken in this chicken sandwich, not the sauce or the bun or anything else, just the chicken itself, it contains all of these ingredients. And you're thinking you're ordering the best thing. There's a skill that you can acquire to learn what to do at these places, even when you order a Veggie Delight at Subway. There's a skill that you need to learn so you can order correctly, so you're not getting inflammation from a Veggie Delight. You see? So these are the quick strategies at McDonald's. This is what you order, and this is how you modify it. You can read all of that after the lecture. Another one. Another one. From Subway, this is what you order, and that's how you modify it. Burger King, you order this, and you modify it. Okay. So you can always order what you like, and you should continue to eat what you like. Don't try to change the recipe and make it really watered down so you don't like it. Knowing it's causing inflammation, because now you know that you have to add vegetables to it so you can enjoy it. So when you're eating, you can just eat the vegetables first and then sit down and enjoy the food. You can do that. Okay? Is that making sense? Okay. Because I want your solutions to be lifelong solutions. All right, that's it. So anything that came to mind while doing this? Do we still have a few minutes? Yeah. Go ahead. We have 3 questions. Go ahead.
So almond milk, because I always thought that it was very healthy.
Right.
So what makes it unhealthy? Like, why can't we drink that?
Okay.
I use that instead of milk.
It's actually better than milk, so you have the right idea. But why would it be unhealthy, and how we can make it healthy? Number one, it would be unhealthy because it's not organic. Most almonds are produced in California. Almonds contain about 3,000 different chemicals as they grow, so because it's a crop that has economical value. We cannot afford not to have a good crop any given year. So we cover almonds with tons of chemicals. That's one. So go for organic, so you skip the chemicals. Number 2, most almond milks contain sugar. So that would be one of the reasons. And most almond milks contain added salt. So you have the salt and the sugar and the chemicals. You see the bottom of the scale as we described it. The way to address that is to have it organic and to get the one that has vanilla without any sugar added, and at home add stevia to it. It's the same flavor, it's perfect. Stevia goes into that milk perfectly. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like for in the morning, if you don't have time to like prepare a meal and you just eat cereal, what would be like good cereals to eat?
Okay, cereals, definitely inflammatory. So, what do we do about that? If it's a good solution, fast solution, you're used to it, you like it, and it solves a problem for you. You have to figure out a way to have blended vegetables and fruits. If you don't want to make it yourself and learn about making it and recipes and so forth, which is really very, very easy. But if you're not interested in doing that, you can buy these mixed already. When you buy those, you have to read the labels and you have to read the ingredients. And the ingredients have to specifically say, ingredients, vegetable 1, vegetable 2, vegetable 3, vegetable 4, plain English, and then maybe 1 or 2 fruits. And that's it. And there are some brands that do that, and you have to find those. If you want to find more about what brands, if you don't want to do that research, you can ask Yvonne, and I can give her the answer. Okay. One more. Go ahead.
Why are artificial sweeteners bad for you? And if there isn't a stevia option at a restaurant, would it be better to just have real sugar versus an artificial sweetener?
Excellent question. First, artificial sweeteners are bad for you because they cause permanent damage to brain cells. That's the answer. So every time you consume those, 1 or 2 brain cells, gone. You see, this is real medical research. If you don't have the option for stevia, first you should have the option in your pocket or in your purse. It's very small. It lasts for months. It gives you flavor or just plain sweetness, and that's wonderful. And it's one of these options. If you don't have that option, yes, unfortunately, plain sugar is better. It causes less damage.
What do you think about the raw honey?
I'm sorry?
Raw honey.
Raw honey is better. It's better than sugar. Raw honey is better than sugar. It's not good as a sweetener. It's not good as something that you use to sweeten your food or drinks on a regular basis. Every now and then it's fine because it has very high fructose content. And fructose is not that good for you if you take it from a concentrated form, like honey, on a regular basis. If this is your sweetener, then it's not a good idea. But if you use it every now and then, or if you have the choice between sugar and honey, go for the honey. Let's say you're at a restaurant or something. Okay? I'm sorry?
So drinking it every day green tea doesn't work?
It can work if you're also drinking vegetable juice. You see, or vegetable and fruit juice. You can come up with a mixture of vegetables and fruits that can be extremely tasty. And a great way to have vegetable juice without the fruit added to it and make it really delicious. Let's take something like kale, for example. You can actually blend kale with water, add lemon juice to it and some stevia, and you'll think that you're drinking lemonade. Yes, it kills the flavor of kale. There's nothing left in terms of flavor. But experiment with that, add the right amount of water so it's completely liquidy like a juice, and the right amount of kale. I would de-stem the kale so it blends really, really finely and well. And then add some lemon juice and stevia to taste. You don't have to add the fruit. It's a 0 calorie, 0 inflammation. In fact, you can kill the inflammation and you can make enough and bring it to work and start drinking this throughout the day. It's a great way to do that. And of course, you can do that with many other things, including herbal tea. Okay? Are we good? We're good on time? All right. Thank you so much. If somebody wants to stay and ask more questions, I'm here. All right.